My name is Bond. Listen, my name is not Bond. My name is Francis, and the closest thing I'll ever get to being Bond-like in this life is our topic of discussion today. We're talking about the lovely marriage between the movie industry and the watch industry. So, movie buffs, gather to the front of the class and let's get into it. But first, I am wearing my Panerai Luminum Marina, which has a bit of history in a movie that we'll talk about in a bit. It's What Talk with Francis. I'm Francis, so let's get into it. The marriage between the watch industry and the movie industry, I'll say, is a symbiotic relationship because one feeds off the other. You find sometimes directors or costume designers are seeking a particular watch to match a particular character in a movie. And then, the watch is in relation to building the character profile of a particular actor. And then sometimes you have the brands who are seeking product placement in movies, to boost the brand image or position the brand strategically into a particular genre or target market. It could be either of the two. And then sometimes you have the big guns like Brad Pitt or Steve McQueen who wear either their personal watches or watches that they like in a movie, and then sometimes that just builds a whole new character of its own. Now, it is basically a mix of business, storytelling, and just good old Hollywood charm. For instance, Ryan Gosling wears a vintage Patek Philippe in the movie Drive, or one of my favorites, I remember a particular scene that always stuck with me. Ari Gold, for Entourage Lovers, that is. Ari Gold was going to see an old school friend of his. He was wearing a gold Audemars Piguet, and he tells his assistant to go across the road and get him the stainless steel Rolex to tone it down. Now, that just totally set the tone for you to understand the level of characters that we're playing here. I wish it was so easy to walk down the road and get his stainless steel Rolex. Anyway, who's checking on that? You can't talk about a relationship between movies and watches without referencing James Bond. Listen, if I try to trace how long ago I was into watches, it might be from a scene from the movie Live and Let Die where Roger Moore uses... Now, how did they do this? He uses a Rolex Submariner as a magnet to unzip a lady's dress. Now, forget the lady's dress. That's not what got me. It was actually the fact that a watch is not supposed to be magnetic. But listen, it's the guys in Q department. We can't argue with them. But yes, Bond wore, contrary to what a lot of people know, Bond wore Rolexes before the inception of the relationship between Omega and the Bond franchise in the movie GoldenEye in 1995. And we have seen James Bond wear Omega after Omega ever since then, and it has been a beautiful marriage made in Hollywood heaven. Listen, Daniel Craig is probably one of the biggest watch influencers because we always spot out for him. Once we see him in a new watch we've never seen before, then we know there's probably a new movie coming up or a new watch release coming from Omega. Now that's a proper symbiotic relationship. Another iconic pairing between watches and movies is the Tag Heuer monocle worn by the best to ever do it, Steve McQueen, in the movie Le Mans. Now, that was Steve McQueen being Steve McQueen. He liked the watch, he wore it for the movie, and after that has made the monocle a staple and probably a flag bearer in the Tag Heuer lineup. That was a precedence to an amazing association between the two brands. The Tag Heuer and the movie has been cemented in movie history for life. The movie Interstellar and the Hamilton watch is a classic example of where two worlds collide. Maybe worlds collide, Interstellar, very confusing movie, but a cult favorite amongst many. Anyways, the Hamilton khaki-filled Murph played an amazing role in this movie. The lead actor, Matthew McConaughey, was going into space and he had to leave a watch with his daughter, Murphy, while he took one watch with him and they were supposed to use it to sync times or something. Anyway, long story, you go watch the movie, I'll tell you about the watch. Hamilton went further, they used the prototype for this movie and a lot of fans loved it, and Hamilton put the watch in total production range. The watch was released in the 42mm variant, but after fans clamored that they wanted a smaller size, the kind people at Hamilton listened to all of us and we released it in the 38mm, which is my absolute favorite. It's a field watch, it's a good everyday wear. And now the coolest part of the watch is that on the 42mm variant, it actually has Morse code engraved in the second hand. I wish they had that in the 38. Which brings me to the watch I'm wearing, is the Panerai Lumina Marina. You can't talk about Panerai's history in modern day without mentioning Sylvester Stallone, the god of action movies. Stallone, rumor has it, or legend has it, Stallone was having a shopping spree somewhere in Italy, and then he stumbled upon a Panerai store, and then he got himself one and has been generous enough to gift a lot of his action movie friends Panerais. Anyway, Sly wore the Lumina Marina in the movie Daylight, and it spiraled into making Panerai a collector's favorite throughout the 2000s. The movie was released in 1996, and Panerai stayed on top of the cool watch list of most enthusiasts all the way till this day. Now, the last watch I'm going to talk about, or the last partnership I'm going to talk about, is kind of an example of where maybe two of the examples that I gave earlier collide. One is watch brand and movie partnership, and the other is star power flexing. Because this is the movie F1, which is in cinemas in June 2025, and IWC make amazing watches for this movie. They have gone on to release some editions of their pilot's watches for the movie, showcasing the fictitious F1 team Apex GP. And I hear Brad Pitt made them do some iterations on the ingenieur he wore in one of the scenes. I've not seen the movie yet, but I'm definitely going to see it. And I wish it really lives up to the hype because, listen, I love Formula One, I love the Mercedes team, and I love IWC. So I'm already an automatic fan. Now, honorary mention is the AP collabs with Marvel Studios. Now, I don't think there's a particular movie. I don't think Black Panther wears one of those AP concept watches, but there is that relationship between Audemars Piguet and Marvel Studios where they've released a bunch of limited edition watches with Marvel characters. Jury's still out. Some people love it, some people don't. I don't really have a take on that, but to each their own. Now, I know that going forward, when you guys go to a movie, you're going to be looking at everybody's wrist. That's fine. I do it all the time. And I'm looking forward to discussing more in the comments, especially there must be some that I've missed. Maybe your favorite movie or your favorite watch in a movie. Put everything in the comments and let's chop it up as we do. It's been fun talking watches. Now, as usual, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share. Stay safe, guys.